Now I have nothing against people that like poetry. They can waste their time where they want, that's fine. But for our education system to force on children that just want to be welders or nurses, well, that's just ridiculous. I realize that children need to have a proper understanding of literature. It's necessary to learn how to read and write properly. And why do we learn poetry? Because we need to appease the select few if they can understand it. I mean, how can you understand it? Maybe the author who died 200 years ago said the sky is blue because that's what color the flipping sky is, not because he felt an overwhelming sense of melancholy due to his dog getting sick and he saw a moth die. Half the time I think the people that write poetry are high. In fact, quite a few of them were. Stephen King, he liked cocaine. Huxley enjoyed mescaline. And Coleridge, he liked to hit up some opium every now and then. I think this explains the random creation of ridiculous words that no one could comprehend. If you can't understand them, don't bother trying. If you are going to attempt to read them, I suggest trying craft.
The fact that comprehending poetry is forced on us in school is quite comical, because teachers try to teach us how to interpret the poem's meaning when the poet didn't even know what he was saying, most likely due to the abundance of drugs he was on when writing said poem. But the worst part is that students aren't allowed to write poems in class because teachers can't determine the meaning of them. Isn't that a bit of a double standard? We as students have to read and interpret poems the same way as a teacher, but we can't write one for a teacher to read and comprehend? Why shouldn't students be allowed to make up their own words and throw them into a verse that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever? So next time you read a poem in class, think about the inequality here. Think about how unfair it is to make students read literature that makes absolutely no sense. After all, drugs don't get you far in life.
And why do we learn poetry? Because we need to appease the select few as I have nothing against people like poetry. They can waste their time. Understanding of literature. It's necessarily
Know what he was saying.
Yeah.
Most likely due to the abundance. Okay, ready? Okay, ready? The fact that comprehending poetry is forced on us in school. You know you have to walk, right?
Where are you going?